Hello, Nintendo 14, playthrough 1, Mega Man X, Part 6, last part. We infiltrated the Sigma Fortress, encountered Vile for the second time, and with the help of Zero, we were able to defeat him. Unfortunately, with Zero's help, he wasn't able to make it, so that means we must venture onwards without him, sadly. And this part, we're going to be doing just that. So, unfortunately, this is my second time recording this because I forgot to hit the record on my commentary thing. So there's that. There's a couple of things that have happened in between this part and in between last part and this part. First off, John finally uploaded his All Cup Tour video, or his third part of his Mario Kart 8 All Cup Tour video. That has been recorded about a month ago, but he finally decided to get all that up and done. There's one more part for that, which is the Leaf and Lightning Cup side. So I don't know if it might take a couple more days for him to get that out. And then after that, there's the DLC stuff. So I told him that give a couple weeks just to ready everybody again, because there's also the tournament that he also started up. That I'd say is really going really good. Yes, I forgot to mention this in my failed recording. Quiz Naki, if you're watching this, great matches. Sad to see a good player like you go down that early in the tournament, whether it was going to be either me or you. But still an honor to be able to battle you in this tournament, and I'll be sure to take that as momentum for the rest of the tournament. So enough about that. Another thing that we started up on the Game Master, guys, which is the Super Mario Galaxy 2 versus between me and John. It's going pretty great. So that obviously means that I have more stuff to do for that channel as opposed to this channel. So after this part and the finale for Mega Man X, I'm going to be shifting focus over to John's channel for a little bit, just like I did with last year with his Mario Kart 8 Let's Play, where I mostly made that video series. So there's that. As for E3, I forgot to put much touch into this in the last part. I just mentioned a few things about E3, but in case if I didn't, because it's been a week and a half since I recorded part 5. And here we go, we got more Mavericks to deal with, just like with the last part, in the last section of the Sigma Fortress. We got the rest of the Mavericks to fight against, or fight again. So as always, you got all the upgrades, all the weapons. Just use the ones that the Mavericks are weak to, and these bosses should be a breeze. So, getting into that, the only two games that I'm really looking forward to after the E3 is only Star Fox Zero and Jesus, I got this name the last time, got this name wrong the last time, but Mario and Luigi Paper Jam. I almost said the title backwards by saying Paper Mario, but it's not a Paper Mario game. Thank goodness, because Paper Mario, Jesus, I did it again. Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, it's on a handheld, and you know what happened with Paper Mario when it was on a handheld? Oh, sticker star. Just a accident. Whatever. Anyways, my Star Fox Zero impressions, thank goodness we finally got a Star Fox Zero game. It's been almost 10 years, since we last saw an actual Star Fox game that's not a remake, with Star Fox Command. And as for Paper Jam, I didn't play Mario and Luigi Dream Team, which is the game that came out before it, but I have heard a lot of good things about it, and who knows, maybe in the weeks before Paper Jam comes out, I could just have myself a little bit of a marathon by playing that game before I actually get Paper Jam. So there's that. Also, Nintendo, you release partners in time, but come on. I just hope that for Bowser's Inside Story, they're not going to release it too late. I mean, they should at least release it sometime in August or September. A little bit in between where I want to play Bowser's Inside Story before deciding to play Dream Team in preparation for Paper Jam. So I just hope that doesn't get screwed up. So in the Sigma Fortress, we got some new bosses aside from just Maverick reruns. We got this little boss that just likes to push the wall into us. Just decide to have some spikes. So some of these bosses in the Sigma Fortress, they could be really weird to fight against. So that means some of the weapons you might have to like try every single weapon, see what's weak to it. But I believe the rolling shield might be the best, or the storm tornado. Not exactly sure. But just keep using some weapons, whatever weapon it'll work out. Whether if the projectile wants to show up on screen or not, because with the emulation from the Wii U, it really tends to do that. And yeah, here I die. I thought I could go the distance without using the sub tank, and oh, how wrong was I? So just did a little cut right there, just to save everybody some time. This part is actually a part I actually did some cuts prior, so pat on the back by myself, might add. But destroying those crystals, I believe it does a couple of things. Maybe the wall closes in. Some of these Maverick bosses, I believe you want to call it. It's some that I tend to not really remember the patterns or the weaknesses to, because they're just really awkward bosses to fight. But luckily, that's finally over, and I believe we got about one more stage before we have to fight Sigma. Oh, there's that. Looking forward to. One more thing I want to bring up with John's tournament. I've learned a lot of things between Kevin's tournament that was held earlier this year and this tournament. I know there's going to be a lot of different people with different playstyles, whether if their opponent appreciates their playstyle or not. And there you just didn't see anything at all. But anyways, getting back to what I was saying, there's going to be a lot of playstyles that people are going to have that are going to be entering this tournament. The best I can give people with those certain playstyles, I hope really adapt to what they're doing, and all you really got to do to get around those certain people in the tournament, just wait on them to see what they're doing. Don't try and rush up ahead, thinking you're gonna, out melee them. So I guess that's one of my tips. Also, another thing, game 3 you should really avoid, because game 3 in my opinion, or going to game 3 in John or any tournament really, that's best 2 out of 3. It's really nerve-wracking, and if you can get into game 2 with that win, then it's just all the pressure's off. And here I just use the chameleon thing, just forget all the stuff that's on screen, because that's just too much for me to deal with. But anyways, winning in game 1 is probably it's hands down the most important thing you got to do in tournaments with 2 out of 3. If it's like the finals or whatever, where it's best out of 5, then go for the first 2. Go and win those first 2 matches. But once you get those wins, when it's like 1-0 or 2-0, then you can just ride right there. You could go strong also in the next game, but you're free to do so many things now that you got all the wins that you need, or all the wins except for that last one that you need. So there's that. Another thing, self-destructing and whatnot. In these tournaments, you want to make all of your stocks count. That means if you need to, try and make it a way so you can survive with about 200%. At that point, you'll know that, hey, you used up that stock really good. You didn't feel like you laid it to waste with early KOs. With some strong forward smashes or down smashes at just about 90%. If that happens, then you got a lot of ground to make up, especially if your opponent is in the situations that I recommend being in. So, that's my advice to all the remaining fighters in the Smash Brothers tournament for John. Anyways, here we are in another fight with Stinking Million. I'm not using the right weakness for Stinking Million. I should be using the boomerang cutter. That I believe you hit him, and then he'll fall off whenever he's attached to the ground. But I don't believe I figured that out until later. So as always, me not figuring out weaknesses, yeah, I actually figured it out. But in case of those times where I don't figure out weaknesses, I just cycle through a bunch of weapons and see which one does better. But yeah, there's that. Also, I still haven't played X2 or X3. I've heard some good things about it. I know those games aren't as great as, or it's not. I don't know if it'll top this game because just how revolutionary this game was. But I know there should be some good value between this and the later installments of Mega Man X, such as X2 and onward. Also, I'm still looking into considering playing the Mega Man Zero series. Not sure exactly when I'll invest some money into getting some installments for that. In here, I'm just really low on health. So one good thing you could do is just use the boomerang cutter that you just used to battle Stink Million and just get those, get the energy stuff. And you can always just shoot through that walls with the X Buster. And now we just got that, we can get the weapon energy, which is a lot easier without that enemy hit inside there. Oh well, just a weird enemy placement. And here we are, we're going to be fighting Spark Mandrill once more. Going to be using the usual weapon that just melts him down, which is the Shotgun Ice. This just, if you can get into good rhythm, you can take him down pretty easy. Now, as for other things, I'm not exactly sure if I'm planning anything after this in the finale of Mega Man X. I could, just maybe. I might start a playthrough of Mega Man X2, but it's all in consideration so far, because as of this recording, I haven't even played the game yet. But if you guys want it, I'll consider it. Also, there's not really much to go over. Oh, actually, there's a couple games that I did forgot to mention in regards to E3. Obviously, there's the controversy between the ill-fated, I believe it's actually canceled, but Metroid Prime Federation Force. It looks like a really good spin-off. I know it didn't look the most appealing game ever, being on the 3DS and whatnot. It would have been really nice if it was on the Wii U, for the HD factors, but I'm pretty sure there would be just as much outrage if it was on the Wii U as opposed to being on the 3DS, because you give it the title, given it the title Metroid Prime, that's what people expected, like a Metroid Prime 4, but instead what we've got is a spin-off with no Samus Aran and just some new characters, which a lot of people aren't happy about. I know I'm not a huge Metroid fan, but it's something to address, and from my vantage point, Nintendo should. Yeah, I believe Nintendo answered by supposedly canceling it. I'm not. I haven't really heard that well about whether if the game was canceled or not, but from one source that I've heard from, that might have been the case. And I use the same right here. I use the same tactic from when we first fought Launch Octopus, and that's using the boomerang cutter, or just slice off his tentacles, and then just hose him down with the X Buster. Nothing real fancy there. Just the same tactics that I've been using. And that's really the theme with the Sigma Fortress is the bosses that you fight, such as the Mavericks. There might be some early on ones that you didn't get a chance to do, with the weapons. But those you did, then there's no difference. And here, I did something really, really dangerous, and that's using the upgraded shotgun ice. You know, this is just a huge mess, but use the shotgun ice to just slide across. Was only able to get a couple stuff, you know, such as one up that I honestly am not really needing that, but I decided to get it anyways. Another thing I also need to bring up again. As for Mario Galaxy 2 Versus and all the videos that I'm working on, I want to take everything, maybe just try to make 2 videos every week. I'll just tell John that, because videos like those shouldn't really expect like a daily upload, because there's a lot of work that is put into those videos, such as the backgrounds and the death counters and all that such. It takes time, so we're not expected to make as much updates as maybe John wanted, but after this I'll try and put as much work as I can into all that. As for Pikmin 2, I really don't know about Pikmin 2. That's all on Tom, whether if he can find the time to record, because I'm always available. I don't know if he is, going through the quote-unquote things that he's been going on in life or whatever. But I'm just waiting over here, just waiting for whatever he's got going on to end, so we can get back to recording those Pikmin 2 videos. We're just over halfway on completing Pikmin 2. I'm still in the mood to play it. I don't know if Tom is. So that's all there is to that. No more videos. I believe or here we are finally. This boss right here. This boss can be really awkward to fight. It's one of my least favorite bosses to fight in the entire game, because most of the attacks that this thing pulls off, I forgot the names of the bosses in the Sigma Fortresses, but just this boss alone is just really frustrating to deal with, because most of the attacks it does, it just runs right towards you, and it's really hard to dodge in this little narrow boxway type structure. So obviously you just want to just try and zing right past it in the middle like that. And I forgot the exact weakness, but I believe its weakness is the rolling shield, that or the electric spark, whatever weapon I use later on that actually takes it down a lot quicker. But as always, you got some of the multi-hit weapons that might do a little bit. I haven't used the Storm Tornado to actually test that, see if it kills a lot faster, but obviously getting its health down even to like halfway, it's just going to be an even bigger pain to deal with, because now it's just going to just juke you out, just do all these crazy stuff that just makes things really hard to dodge, and overall just makes makes a boss that you just have a really hard time doing. But luckily, after fighting a boss this ridiculous, all that's left is Sigma. This could act as just Sigma's last line of defense. But luckily, I believe maybe the shotgun ice might have been his weakness, but I really haven't really figured it out. And here I'm just running on fumes here. I don't want to use a sub tank, because I want to save that for Sigma, and just take one more last shot, just like that. And in my opinion, maybe the hardest boss in the entire game. We took it down. It took me actually a couple tries. So if you notice any cuts, then that's why. Decided to just get down to the actual point. And with that, there's actually not much to do, but if you need to, you can go back to the other stages to get whatever you haven't gotten, because you gotta be prepared for what's later to come. So that's it for this part. Tune in next time for the finale, as we're gonna be taking down Sigma. So till then, see you guys later.